My name is Mary Ann Grabstich. I am the Education and Outreach Facilitator for the Family Caregivers Center. We have been operating since 2015. As our name suggests, we provide a range of services for people who are caregivers for those with dementia as well as other chronic conditions. In addition, we have more recently developed programs for individuals who are in the early stage of dementia. We provide a range of group experiences for our participants. We have found groups to be very helpful and have received tremendous feedback from our participants. They're all going through a very challenging experience. They love having a place to talk about what they are dealing with. They particularly appreciate having a peer support group that are going through a comparable experience. These groups typically form very close bonds. We have learned a great deal over the past 9 years. We are creating this video to share some of what we have learned. Our hope is that other organizations will be interested in starting similar programs. As many of our participants have noted, everyone should have an opportunity to be in a supportive group atmosphere. All our groups are facilitated by trained volunteers who are supervised by the professional staff of the agency. The facilitators are key to providing successful group experiences. Many of them are retirees who had professional experience in teaching, nursing, social work, or a related field. You do not need to have a professional background to be a successful volunteer. A successful facilitator has a genuine curiosity and interest in the group members and the challenges they face. 2 of our regular facilitators are working with me on this presentation. The first is Peg O'Rourke. Peg is a retired marriage and family therapist, teacher who has led several groups, including Exploring Dementia Caregiving, The Great Challenges of Caregiving, Caregiving and Relationships, and Caregiving and Sex and Intimacy. The second is Rick Zinger. Rick is a retired social worker educator. Rick has facilitated groups for caregivers as well as helped develop our initial group for people living with early stage dementia, which is titled Living Your Best Life. We hope you find this video informative and that you will consider starting and facilitating your own groups. We believe that these opportunities are critical in creating a dementia-friendly community.
I was driving here today, I was thinking, I've been in several situations of teaching where they film classes. And what I always say to myself is just try to pretend it's not there. But when I have this, I'm gonna break into song. I would like a standing ovation, even if you think it's the worst song you've ever heard.
Is it going to be your one song?
It'll be my karaoke song.
And do we know what it is?
Yes. I can't remember the name of it though.
Oh, it's like one word.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can't remember.
Now I'm trying to remember.
You're in the right place.
That's the problem when you're in a dementia group.
We're very friendly.
Yeah, it's fine if you don't remember. It'll
But
come to you maybe.
I think the obvious starting point this week, because of a dramatic entrance, is Gary. So what happened? And
Really kind of weird. I was going home last week, got out of the bus, and the transit system that I used, the big buses that they had, not the city buses, but the lift buses. I was sitting in the front seat, I turned to get off, and I fell off the end of the seat.
Oh.
I didn't think I had gotten hurt because, the seat's not that far off the ground. And the driver came running back to help out. She did a fantastic job. And it was difficult then for me to move. And so I finally got up, and at that point she said, "You're bleeding a little bit." So she called 911, thank heavens, and they were here within probably 5 minutes, which is kind of handy being close to the hospital. And so they took me to the hospital, and they did x-rays of my whole body because I had broken so many bones in my body, and they did the whole thing and found out I was all right. I didn't have a broken bone anyplace.
Good.
So that's the beginning of not being able to remember where to go, what to do, and when to do it. It's one of those three things. I've been a real problem with not being able to monitor and move around the way I want to.
Right.
And so that's kind of a problem. Like the other day I went into the kitchen. Well, I thought I was going into the kitchen, and I got in there and looked around and couldn't figure out where am I, and what am I doing? You know, I was blank when I got to the kitchen while I was there.
Uh-huh.
And I finally got that figured out and came around to the other side of the kitchen counter and got lost again. I couldn't remember where I was going and what I was doing. And so,
Scary.
yeah, it's getting worse now. I'm losing more of the ability to remember those things and come back out of something that I got into for some particular reason. I don't know what it was, but I tried to get through it as much as I could.
Mhm.
And so that's about where I am now. I'm at the point of, I've got a wheelchair, so I'll make her happy.
You'll make us all happy.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, there's a joke that ties directly to the story you just told.
Yeah,
Sunday school superintendent is walking the hallways Sunday morning, and he gets to the room where the older ladies have their weekly get together. So he backs up and listens. And he heard the first lady say, "I was standing on the landing, and I was trying to figure out if I'm going up or I'm going down." Second lady said, "I was standing in front of the refrigerator, and I was trying to remember if I was going to take this carton of milk out or if I just put it in." And the third lady goes, God, you ladies, glad I don't have your problems." And then she goes, on wood. And then she goes, "That's the door."
it's been difficult for the week.
I bet.
Get her to use its wheelchair. And
Yeah.
it's like somebody said, those wheelchairs were not made to go through doors.
Right.
They either were too big or too small. So I'm waiting now for the next Evander episode to occur where, what am I going to do now? Where am I going and why am I going?
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, and as Judith said, it is scary
Yeah,
when you're in that situation.
because now I thought I was limited when I couldn't drive the car.
Right.
This is even worse.
Yeah.
Mary has to really get out there and help getting me in and out of the car. And hopefully that part of it is, as far as trying to get around, hopefully I'll be able to get, feel better and be able to get back out on the road, walk around again
Yeah.
shortly. So,
And you're seeing a physical therapist, right?
yes. And so that's about where I am now.
Well, I was thinking it's pretty neat that you were able to come today after all that.
And Mary's always pushing me, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go.
Okay.
She's right. Once I get here, a good thing I did come.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Awesome.
Sure.
Do you use the wheelchair at home, Gary, or just if you go out?
Usually when I get when I'm at home. Well, unfortunately, our apartment wasn't designed for somebody with a wheelchair
Right.
because between the dining room and our bedroom,
You have some,
drops off about 6 inches.
yeah, some steps.
Try and get around the house, you got to get up that 6-inch incline. And
Yeah.
so it's a challenge.
Did you have a walker too? A walker? Do you have a walker?
I have a walker, no, not yet. I was trying to decide whether to use a walker or something like this.
Yeah.
I can't think of the church downtown that had it.
Oh, it's Grace Episcopal. They have the loan closet for equipment.
This. And I
Good.
couldn't believe it. There's room where they work is probably twice the size of this, and it's full.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's full of equipment. And
That's a
it's big
great-
equipment.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That you
it
get
is.
to borrow it for as long as you need. So maybe you should get a walker too. Just
Yeah, he said if you want to take another one, so we took two. And the other one is, I think, more or less a walker than anything else. It just take it one step at a time. If this works okay for a while, I'll live with this.
Right, right. What does Jake think about you being scooting around the apartment in a wheelchair?
Well, we're kind of fortunate because the living area is large. We got a lot of space there. And so we can get around, but it's just a challenge to try and figure out how to move with it this way and this way. So
I was trying to remember who it was, but it was an athlete who had a serious injury and was in a wheelchair. And they were saying, until you're in a wheelchair, you don't realize how poorly designed the world is for people that are struggling with that. And it's just not set up very well. So
Oh, we're glad you're here. And in one piece.
And you're smiling.
the hand, what happened?
I didn't think it was that bad. This is the second or third bandage because taking a shower is kind of a trick anymore when you don't want to get this wet. But about there's the end of the bandage, and it just scraped up the end of my finger,
Oh.
and it was bleeding a little bit, but I wouldn't think it was enough to make that much difference. We had 2 ambulances out in front of the front.
Well, I had an interesting experience on Saturday. I went downtown to, I went to Iowa City to see my girlfriend's daughter that was in the hospital. And I had to get up to 2nd floor. So I got in the parking ramp and got up to 2nd floor, or tried to. The elevator got stuck. I was in the elevator for about an hour on Saturday.
Oh,
And I called the lady out, there was a little button to push, and so I pushed that. She answers. She says, "Are you in the elevator?" I'm like, "Yes." And I'm stuck. She says, "Well, let's try a few things." She gave me some buttons, told me which buttons to push and, in what sequence, and didn't help. And I was about this far from the 2nd floor because it was that short. But so she says, "Well, let me call the elevator man and hopefully he'll be in Iowa City today." I hope so too.
If not, have a nice weekend.
I had windows on both sides of so I could see all the way around pretty much, but, or at least out 2 doors. And, so she said, "Would you like the, security card to come and be there?" So what would he do? Talk to you and keep you calm. I'm like, "No, I'm okay." So she says, "Okay, well, I'll call him and I'll let you know what they say." So she calls me back and she says, "He is in Iowa City and he's finishing up and he'll be over." I said, "Okay." And so then we got off the phone again. And then I thought, well, maybe if he would come and try and push the button from the outside, that maybe that would, I don't know, kick something in so it would start. Well, so she said, so I called her back. "That's a good idea." Thanks. So she says, "Let's try that." So I'll get him over there. So he came over. No, that didn't do a thing. Other than he just sat there and looked in at me all the time, and I'm like, couldn't hardly talk because the glass was really thick on, So he said, "I'm really sorry you're in here." I said, "Me too." And then I got tired of standing up, and so I sat down against my better judgment. But I sat down really hard because I didn't want my hands on the bottom. It was so gross in there. But so then the guy got there not too long after, I guess, and got me out. And then so do I tell the rest of the story, Rick, or do I?
No.
So the rest of the moral of the story is, when you go to Iowa City, you can either go up to the 2nd floor in an elevator, or if you just had looked behind you, there was a walkway up to the 2nd floor that I could have went. And I wouldn't have had to get in that elevator, and I wouldn't have been there for an hour stuck. So yeah, it was pretty lame. I as he's walking me to the 2nd floor, I'm like, "We're gonna go up here?" He goes, "Yeah, it's just up here in the ground floor." I said, "Yeah, I didn't have to go in the elevator?" He goes, know. I said, "Oh, that just adds some fun to this day, doesn't it?" He goes, "No, I didn't want to tell you." So yeah, so I had that going for me on Saturday. And, but it's so big. I get really confused in Iowa City at the hospital. I really, it's so big. So
Anyway, it's confusing at the Iowa City Hospital to get around.
it is. And I was in the wrong parkade. I got in the wrong parkade. I should have been in number 1 and I went to number 4. I don't know. So I was by myself and she said, "I'm really sorry you got stuck in there." I said, how'd you know that? She says, "Well, I know which guard went to talk to you out there." And I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Yeah, he was a nice guy." She goes, "He is." And I said, "I wanted to ask him who drove him to work today, but I didn't because he looks so young." And yeah. And I was ma'am. Everybody was calling me ma'am. I'm like, right. So at least that's better than being called honey or something when young girls call you that when they're waiting on you in a restaurant. I hate that, but it's just so.
Well, I thought about it afterwards, and that's really anxiety producing to get stuck in an elevator, and you handled it really well.
Well, the stuff happens. Words come into mind. Nobody's fault. So, and it was Saturday, and there was an away game, so nobody was around. Which I think is kind of better. Otherwise, they could have been gawking it at me, and I'd be getting angry. But one lady came up to the door. "Are you stuck?" Just wanted here's your sign, that sign, Joe. Here's your sign. So I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you want me to try to push the button?" I'm like, "Sure." She goes, "Nope." And I was like, "What do you do?" I said, "Somebody's coming to get me out." She goes, "Oh, that's good. All right, we'll see you." I'm like, "All right." So
Well, you handled it really well.
yeah. Well,
That's scary.
people say, "Oh, I would have freaked out."
Mhm.
Yeah. I suppose it would have been worse if there were no windows, but
Yeah.
it was glass doors, so it was easy. And it wasn't cold, but it was getting warm in there
Yeah.
by the time I got out. So, but it took about an hour. I mean, start to finish, it was about an hour. So, yeah. So I'm glad he was in Iowa City too.
You also talked to Diane last week, so you're going to share a little bit about it.
She called me on Sunday evening and she's like, "Hi." And I said, "Well, hello." And we just talked and she said her boys are really busy and she says, "I'm only 25 steps away from their house." And I said, "Really?" She says, "Yep, I counted them a lot of times." Yeah, but she said she had joined a church, but now she wants to find a different one because that one's too big, she says. She'd like a smaller, more, face-to-face church. So she was going to look around a little bit more. And she said, "But everywhere we go, Andrew has to drive me because nothing's real close." And I said, "I bet he doesn't mind though." And because he knew that coming in that you would need to be driven. And she says, "Yeah, I won't drive here." So yeah, he doesn't mind. And I said, "Well, that's good." But so he did, he's been taking her around. They went to some parks and hiked and stuff like that. And she's anxious to Zoom, so that'll be coming soon, I hope. And what else did I say about that?
That's mainly what I remember.
Okay. She said that she has been, or that she could walk in the neighborhood because I asked her if she feels safe there. I said, "Or is it real big and busy?" And she goes, "No, I feel really safe. I could take a walk around the neighborhood." She says, "And after maybe Andrew and I do it a couple of times, then I'll do it." Because she says, I'd be comfortable doing that. So
Okay.
that's good. She said that she loves her place. It's so pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So that's awesome. She's very happy.
And she's got her cat.
Yes. But she did say, she's gone out with a few of their friends, their older friends that they were going to introduce her to. And she says, nothing's really stuck yet for, they're not just exactly who I would pick. She says, they're very nice, but she says, I'm just going to keep doing it until I find somebody that's, going to stick more like a friend as a, than as just a acquaintance. So she's looking for some friends.
And maybe she can find a group, something similar to what we have.
Right.
And That would be good. She'd have a lot to share.
And she said she misses everybody. She always says that. She misses
Well,
everybody.
Her too.
She asked and she asked about Bill, and I told her about, he's gonna probably stay there now, and so we might not see him unless we go visit him. And she wanted his address so she could send him a letter. So
Yeah, maybe we could arrange a get together to all go see Bill.
yeah, maybe.
Uh-huh. That might be fun. I'm sure he's ruling the roost at Bigfoot. Yeah.
That's all right.
Especially if he's the only guy there, which is a possibility.
No, I think there are probably some other guys there, but yeah. You've been, Gary.
Yeah, we've been there, and I would think at the time there must have been at least a half a dozen guys,
Okay.
That's good.
which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad he's settled.
Is that? Is it a smaller?
It's smaller. It,
Maybe 2 units. I
Oh,
think. She
yeah.
said they had all but 1 unit filled, that was it. And they had it up to 31.
Is that all memory? Or
no,
no, just everything?
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they have the nursing home piece,
Uh-huh.
but it's not a big facility.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More friendly.
The sense I had, April, when you were talking about her the other day, and again today, is how positive it's been. You know, she was really nervous about the move, and it sounds like so far it's really worked out pretty well.
It's a loss for them when, a close friend moves away or the situation changes. You feel that loss too.
Yeah.
So
She had a network of friends that had been friends for a long time, and it's really challenging to make new friends at our age,
mhm.
right? I mean, how do you meet people even, let alone how do you make that connection? So good.
And I think, to sort of catch on to that piece of it, you get tired of telling your story.
Yeah.
Your friends are comfy with they know your story, they know the journey that you've been on, whatever's happened in your life. So I think I think you get to a point where it's like, I'm kind of done telling this, and it's harder to make new friends, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Oda?
You're up, Oda.
I'm originally from New York. So.
You have covered the world pretty well.
Yes.
Paris,
Yeah, we live in Paris and we used to travel a lot.
New York City.
London. I love Paris. That's my favorite. city.
Yeah, that would be fun.
well, I laughed when I first met you, and you were saying, well, I was in Caracas, Paris, New York, and then Iowa.
Save the best for life.
But you know what? This is the best place in my opinion. But I mean, it doesn't have a lot of things to do. I mean, Paris, you walk around and you see so many things. But you get used to it. And you just, at this age, you just need some peace. That's gone crazy.
I loved Richard's story about when he took the family vacation from New York to California, and they were stuck in Iowa in a storm, and they were at a gas station, I think he said, and the people came out and said, "Oh, we can help. Come on in." And he thought that was a big defining thing for him, like in Iowa, because people were so nice and so friendly, and you don't get that in a lot of places. So
Here we are.
And you don't have any idea of how long your son will stay?
So does he? So he writes, right? Yes. So is he working on a script now then, or a book or whatever?
No, he writes for whatever company he's working for.
Okay. That's different. I don't know how
I
that
don't know
all
if
works.
he's creative writing. I don't know if he writes for himself. But I don't want to ask how long. And some mom was need to leave.
Oh,
I think the writer strike in Los Angeles earlier this year was pretty devastating. Hmm.
Wasn't that why he ended up in Colombia or wherever he went there for a while?
Yes, I guess so. He was looking for other places where he can work.
Hmm.
Good. Good.
And I'm glad that he went because his Spanish wasn't that good. So he probably had to practice more there.
When your mom's a Spanish teacher and your Spanish isn't that good, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Learned it when I was, when he was growing up. His friends used to make fun of him
Oh.
when they come on and they talk to him. So he kind of got a little stick. He just didn't want to learn it, I guess.
Hmm.
But he's doing okay now.
Good. Okay, good. June?
Have too many things to talk about. I know quite a bit about elevators.
was it your dad?
It's my husband's business. And he didn't like it. I mean, he studied family therapy, have to look at the whole history of the family. So his father just expected him to join in that business. And he did grow it into quite a bit larger business, including escalators. But so I've heard a number of stories, but elevator people will tell you that it's the safest transportation we have. That's it was.
Great.
So that's my bit of trivia for you.
We didn't know we had an elevator specialist.
Yeah. Oh.
Know that at my father-in-law business, that would be in the early 1940s. Only vacations they took were to Pheasant Hunt in northern Iowa. In those days, that was a huge trip because the highways were there. And that they drive all the way up the hunt, and then he would get an elevator call.
Oh,
Oh.
And he also wasn't drawn into the service because it considered that essential service in buildings, hospitals, or something. So
you were saying? Okay,
that's about it for today.
okay, okay.
I'm doing okay.
Okay.
Good.
Linda's doing okay. She has oxygen. She has she has uh, 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 uh,
Do the hospice nurses come to see her?
yes.
Good.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they do.
Okay. But I'm sure the staff there are taking good care of her.
Right. She has declined a lot. She's I think she has declined a lot.
Does she talk a lot?
No.
That's a problem then with you.
Right. Right. She doesn't talk. Any.
Is Stephanie still with you?
No.
She went back to Colorado.
Yes. She's coming today.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Good. Good.
She's here today. Sarah's in here today
Okay.
too.
Good.
is that your other daughter or is that Stephanie's wife or partner?
It's your daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's Stephanie's sister.
Right.
What's it like for you to see Linda going through this? That must be really difficult.
Yes, it is. I think it's like I don't know.
Do you get to see her most days, Steve?
Yes,
Good.
I see her this morning. She had a I see her this morning.
Okay.
Right.
His daughter-in-law brought him out to the car then. 'Cause
Right.
She was there with them. That's
So-
nice.
She's a pretty good driver, huh?
Yes.
Did she speed?
Right.
Not as far as we're going to say.
Didn't you sign a non-disclosure?
Right.
I get him. He gets in there and he's all scrunched because I always have the seat up on, when I'm the passenger, and half the time I forget. But today I looked at him. He's got his foot caught in the door because he can't get his whole body in there. I'm like, push the thing back. It's so yeah. I always forget to put it back, but
Right.
so he's like.
I know a good chiropractor. Well, we're aware that this is going to be an intense time for you, so we'll certainly think about you. And
Yes.
If
Pray for me.
you need stuff,
We
let
will.
us know too.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. Let's reach out. We'll help
Right.
any way we can.
We're all here for you.
Yeah.
Right.
good. Steve?
My days are up and down.
Okay.
Just seems to fluctuate a lot.
It just kind of hangs on me.
Okay. What makes it up when you're having good days? What do you notice generally is going on?
Well, I'm hanging out more with people that it seems to go easier.
Okay.
And my problem is just going up and the down
Uh-huh.
and
With this nice weather, though, you've probably been able to get outside a little bit more and
not too much.
not too much. Okay.
Well, I'm glad for the Hawkeyes logo, but I'm sad for the St. Louis cap. Being a Cubs fan, I'm good and I'm bad.
In fact, do you have the courage to watch Iowa against Ohio State tomorrow? That could be painful.
Right.
Okay. Barb?
Well, I guess the main thing I'm thinking about right now is on the farm, because the crops are beginning to be brought in. So it was a really dry time this year. So, but anyway, most of the neighbors and our farm too, that everybody's starting to, get it out, So that's a big job, but also a wonderful job, They probably are not going to have as much as they would like, but they've got something.
Mhm.
So that's a great gift, that the crop, there is somewhat of a crop, even though we didn't get the moisture. we probably some of the farmers will be, oh, I wish we could have gotten more than this, but well, my thought is hold your hands out and let the Lord give you what He's going to give to you, and just go on. another year next spring. So anyway, I think most of the fellows are thankful that they've got something that they can bring in. So
How long does it take, Barb, to bring in the harvest on your farm?
on the farm that we live on, it's not a huge, big, long, but it would, I don't know how many days, but probably maybe 3 days. It depends on, what's going on otherwise, but yeah, there's something to get out there.
That's good.
So we're thankful for that. Anyway, so
Is there any kind of like celebration at the end of this? Do they have?
Barn dance.
Yeah, barn dance, square dance, any dance.
He's very dance focused
I-
today, isn't he?
I don't think that's been thought about. I'll tell Hart. Just see what he says. Yeah, after we get the crop out, our group wants to come out and have a big party. So.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I applied for Dancing with the Stars, and they said no one had ever heard of me, so I didn't make the cut this year. So,
But
a barn dance sounds pretty good.
the sad thing is, when they announce who's on there, you go, I have no clue who that is. I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, we still laugh and we, you know, do our daily stuff and there's going to be some crop out there, you know, I think for most of our neighbors, and so we'll be thankful for whatever we get. So, but that's just part of being a farmer and putting your crop out and you know, year after year after year. Some are really, really good, you know, and others are, you know, have sometimes maybe not as good, but there's always something. So we're thankful for that. So thanks for asking.
That's his job.
Number one facilitator over here.
Alan?
I think it's probably a little piece of good news that we got to the point where Laura and I looked at each other and said, they're waiting to find out if we want to go another round of physical therapy. And Laura and I agree. I'm well enough in that respect that we can decline further PT. They did recommend, it probably helped my balance a little bit, they did recommend that PT getting a pair of fitted orthotics to put in my shoes. I always have them, but these would be specially fitted. A little expensive, but probably worth the money, so we'll probably do that. But the other thing I was thinking about, I'm the kind of person that if you tell me a problem, I'll try to think of a resource that you could check with. And one resource is the rest of the people in the group. For instance, we've been helping each other with practical things like wheelchairs, for example, and other balance aids, all kinds of, and nursing homes. So I think we are resources for each other, which is awesome. But another resource I'm thinking we haven't talked about is the library that we've got here and the library that they also have at the other building. And I particularly have enjoyed this book. The name of our class is Living Your Best. The name of the book is Living Your Best. What a good fit. And all kinds of practical ideas. And my favorite chapter is called Strategies for Effective Communication with Friends and Family. And here's one paragraph. One man tells his support group, sometimes I'll start a sentence and forget what it is I was going to say halfway through. But if someone prompts me by repeating the part of the sentence I've already said, then often I can pick up my train of thought and finish the sentence. Have you found that to be true? I have. It's like back up, try again. And so if somebody had thought of that, that'd be a real help. The one that the other paragraph I thought about, you guys are really good about this. But my family could use the help that this paragraph gives. It says, my husband was finishing my words, finishing my thoughts. I took him aside privately and said it wasn't helping. I said, I know you are trying to help, but it's just making me mad. If I stumble around, let me. Unless you tell a person this is not helping me, they don't know. You have to say how you feel. How practical is that? So the resources in the library are just awesome.
Thanks for sharing, because I've read it too.
Good.
Yeah.
Have others of you read anything that's been helpful in just dealing with whatever you're going through?
Just read a whole series of a book that was started in the 1970s So how that helps, it distracts me.
Oh, okay.
And I think there is a lot available. I get all these things from Harvard Newsletter and mails, and it's really a stuff I already know. Like everything else that there is to do, I know what it is. It's that I don't do it, and I don't give a damn. I had made to cook for meatloaf or something or other, and when I feel kind of down, I don't want to do any of those things I know. So my solution was to put the meat in the freezer and eat 2 oatmeal cookies and a piece of fruit.
That's fair. Yeah.
But it's just, I get really frustrated with myself. I know a lot more than I do.
Have you been able to draw on the fact that you were a family therapist for a long time to help you cope with some of these down days, Judith?
Yeah, I think I have. When I use that guidance or knowledge, especially with one daughter, she'll say, "Don't give me that therapy stuff."
Yeah. I have a friend who's a social worker, and here we go.
Okay.
And I can always tell. She'll tackle a problem, and I'll go, "Oh, she's in social work mode."
Particularly if she starts taking notes.
Yeah. That's okay. You got fiber, you got fruit, a little sugar, not much protein, but that's okay.
Well, it's hard to make demands on yourself when you're not feeling good. And even preparing food is a demand, exercising is a demand, all the things you know you should do.
Sometimes all these things I know and really am good at. Like I said, I don't want to be bothered with that.
And I think to be able to accept that you don't want to be bothered with it, it's okay. But I think it's hard. It's hard and frustrating to deal with. Yeah.
I don't think there's a simple answer to that. I think you just have to find your way through it. So most of the time I do.
Yep.
Laura and I have undergone counseling sometimes and medication for a long time for depression. First time we talked about that with a therapist reminded me the word depress literally means push down. They used to write instructions for entering information into a system, and it said, depress the enter button, press down. Well, that's what you do sometimes when you can't handle whatever's right in front of you, you press it down. And of course, it pops up somewhere else that you didn't expect, right? But if there's any kind of over-the-counter or medication that's under prescription, I would recommend asking about that.
I know about that. Okay.
That's right. She said you had been a therapist? I forgot that.
It's in my blood. I don't get over it.
Yeah.
It's probably like anything else, it's easier said than done, because it's easier for you to tell somebody to do that than to do it yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, well, don't all of you know a lot of things that you don't want to do or should do, but but so instead, here we are.
Well, we just have a couple more minutes. Is there anything else anybody would like to share or talk about? We hope you enjoyed watching this. I think it was a good example of what we really try to do in our program. Our main goal is to get people together that have a commonality and really have them just have an opportunity to talk about what they're going through. And I think you can see from their interaction with each other, it really matters to them to have that available.